Hello friends, it's Nancy from Astrology and Angel Mediums today with another weekly check-in video. This one will be, oh my gosh. All right, let's put those off to the side since I want to just pop off before I even do my intro here. So this will be for the week of Sunday, September 7th through Saturday, September 12th, I believe. I don't know if I have those dates right. It may not be right. I'm sorry. It may be the 13th. I didn't really look at a calendar. My bad. I'm just kind of going off of vibes today, right? Actually, let me just double check that. All right. It's through the 13th. That was my bad. All right. So through September the 13th, which is Saturday. All right. So here we go. So this is just our weekly check-in. We just kind of want to see what the vibe is. Now, I just want you to understand that today we do have a full moon in Pisces, which is actually an eclipse. So we're going to have the beginning of eclipse season, starting off on the nodal axis of Pisces and Virgo. So we're going to be feeling a little bit of this energy kind of picking up, especially if you have a lot of Pisces or Virgo placements in your own natal chart. I can say one thing about eclipse season is that sometimes it tends to feel like there's a lot of things that are outside of your control that are happening, and it can be a force for good in the sense of it initiates a lot of this metamorphosis in a way that may feel very scary or overwhelming, but it is necessary. It allows you to kind of open up different pathways that maybe you haven't really been paying attention to or haven't really been aware of. So that's all I'm going to say about it. If you want a deeper analysis or more in-depth information, there's a lot of really amazing people out there that put out really thorough readings and information, and have a lot of experience, and can kind of give you per information versus per your signs and things like that. One of my favorites is Beyond the Veil Tarot, or Beyond the Veil. I'll link her video. Candace does really amazing work. I've been a follower of hers for many, many years, and I do love how she puts out these videos with a lot of information to kind of help you dive in and get into the nitty gritty of the energy. So again, that is going to be happening today. Just be on. I feel like it brings up a lot of energy and emotions and kind of frustrations and things like that to the surface. So just kind of be aware of that energy today. All right, so let's get into what the actual reading is for this week. So let's see what we need to know as a collective this week. All right, so we have the Crown of Coins, which is going to be the King. This is going to be the Queen of Pentacles, I believe. It's been a while since I've had this card come out, so I'm gonna have to reference my info. All right, so what do we need to do this week? We have Healing reversed. All right, which is not a tarot card, and I'll explain why I have some not tarot cards in my deck. All right, so what do we need to release? We have the Universe. Again, another extra card I put in here. And then what do we need to contemplate this week? We have the 10 of Pentacles reversed. So a lot of internal energy. A lot. And then we had our little jumpers as well. So we're going to talk about those little guys too, because they wanted to come out and they wanted their moment in the Sun. I think it was the 3 of Cups reversed, and then the 6 of Pentacles that kind of decided they wanted to be in on the fun today. So let me just straighten this out and then make sure that I'm reading the right card here. So it is the King of Pentacles. All right. So let's talk about what we need to know. So this week we have the King of Pentacles reverse, or the Crown of Coins in this deck. When I think of reverse cards, and I'm just going to say this because there's a lot here, right? We have quite a few reverse cards. I feel like it's more of an opportunity for us to look at the introspective, more like internalized messages that surround the energy of these cards. And so I think it's a beautiful invitation for us to kind of take a step back into what do we believe about the energy of this card? What is it that we are maybe holding ourselves, kind of locked down or kind of stuck into when it comes to how this card can kind of present itself and what it means overall for us as individuals to experience this energy versus kind of looking at it as an external force that is influencing what is happening around us. So with what we need to know being, hey, this is the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles is, in a lot of ways, this energy of like the penultimate, ending and understanding of what the pentacle suit really covers. So the pentacle suit or the coin suit can be very much about finances, career, our work, our home, our body, our behaviors. And this is almost saying like there is something within us that maybe we're starting to kind of pay attention to. And I think that this is a very apt message for eclipse season, especially with it starting off with Pisces, the Pisces full moon. It's almost asking us to kind of look at, what have we created for ourselves? Are we bringing in the sort of stability and comforts and enjoying the way that we're showing up in different ways? Maybe there's something that we haven't really nurtured. And so this is an invitation that we need to know that in order for us to kind of really see progression forward is that we really need to step into this energy a little bit and kind of see like, how am I behaving in this area? Am I, bringing enough stability to where I can live the life of the creature comforts that I've come to enjoy? Do I feel like I have mastered these different things within myself? Are there, am I being mature about the choices that I'm making? Am I, stepping into a place of comfort, but then also understanding that I'm willing to put in the effort and the hard work in order for me to really move into the next thing? So I think for this week, we're just kind of reminded, that there is a lot more in our power than we may feel. And there are some reminders that there are things that we need to be more present in. And maybe it's the physical presence, maybe it's just the, understanding that like we're building something, that we're creating something for ourselves, that we're trying to stabilize something for ourselves, and not so much about what that may look like for everybody else. And so maybe we need to kind of take a step back into understanding our own personal behaviors. We need to take a step back into understanding that like, that we're nurturing the things that we're trying to grow, that we're taking accountability for, how are we showing up for ourselves in order to make that happen. So I think that this is very much a card that is kind of saying, hey, what are you actually doing? Like, what is the plan? What is it that maybe you've been trying to work towards? Are you kind of forgetting that it's okay for you to take a step back into yourself and reconnect with what is really truly happening around here? So I think that is a nice way to kind of open up eclipse season for all of us, is to maybe kind of look back at, what are we actually physically doing and how are we connecting to that energy? I'm going to move these to the side a little bit. So next, with what we have to do, we have healing. Now, again, this isn't a tarot card. I added in these extra cards into my deck because it's a magpie deck, right? So I just was like, I'm going to add whatever I want. And that's just what it's going to be. It's just vibes. So whenever I get this card, especially within a reading, and this is like really helping us focus on like what we need to do. There is maybe something within ourselves that we haven't really been paying attention to, whether it is, are we showing up in this energy of understanding what within us needs to heal, what within us needs to kind of that's been requiring some attention that maybe we've been too busy to pay attention to, where we've been too distracted by the day-to-day, by life, by everything else kind of happening. Now, Pisces is also the sign of healing. It's essentially kind of seen as the energy of this great healer. It is the, really encompassing all of the other energies of all of the other signs. And it is very much talking about, this is a time for us to do that internal healing, whether it is some of the stories that we believe about what we're capable of having, what we're capable of doing, how we're showing up in this energy. And I think the healing card here is an invitation to kind of say, like, are we taking the time out to kind of focus on what we really need, what that will look like, and how that will feel for us as individuals? Now, with what we need to know being the the King of Pentacles, kind of saying like, hey, there's like something here that we're just not really moving past. And since I feel like pentacles or coins can be very much a card of like our behavior, like what are we physically doing for ourselves? What is our physical body needing? This healing card is kind of saying like, we got to take a step back and really take care of ourselves, whether that is being very intentional about our energy, being very intentional about, our health in some way, whether it's like physical health or just really being intentional about the sort of energy that you're taking on. What are you plugging into? Are you giving yourself time to kind of rest and regenerate yourself? Are you taking time out to truly, connect with what is necessary and needed for you at this time? I will say that right now I'm seeing a lot of people getting sick, a lot of people, just catching colds. I know it's like the beginning of school. That always tends to happen. And I feel like whenever our bodies kind of catch these little things or we get sick or, whatever, it's a reminder that maybe we're just not intentionally taking care of ourselves or prioritizing our health in some way. And so it is almost like a reminder of like, girl, you got to slow down a little bit. You got to take a step back. You got to kind of be more aware of like, what are you doing on the daily to take care of yourself? Are you, being very intentional and caring for yourself too? Because I think a lot of us, we're just kind of going through the actions. We're just going through what we need to get done. We're not really being, again, very intentional about what does this mean? What will this be like for me in the future? What will this feel like moving forward? And so I think that this week it's almost saying like, we gotta kind of be very aware of like, where's our energy going? What are we putting our energy into? What are we allowing in our space? Are we taking care of ourselves? Are we being intentional with this energy at this time? Because it may be an opening for us to really have things that make us kind of slow down and take that moment to pause, whether we like it or not. All right, so next to that we have what we need to release. So this is a universe card. This is an extra card that I also added into my deck. I thought it was beautiful. Now, this card can reflect more so than the world card. So this comes after the world. And I feel like this card is kind of saying like, hey, what we need to release is that maybe we've been hanging on and trying to control so much right now. Or maybe we feel like there's so much out of our control that is maybe not working in our favor or not going the way that we thought it was going to. And so we're kind of questioning, we're doubting, we're not, really trusting the process. And I think with this being reversed as well, is that maybe it's kind of saying like, hey, all you got to do here is just really truly embrace what comes next. Like the world is at your fingertips. So just, think about what it is that you really desire. What does that look like? What are you working towards? What is it that maybe for a long time you've been trying to kind of incorporate some of this energy? And if you haven't been, and if you've been a little bit off or you haven't really been paying attention, the universe card is a reminder of this, opportunity to kind of step into the next thing. I feel like this is also a reminder of how intuitively connected you may be to things, but maybe you're kind of forgetting this message within yourself. It is a card of an invitation, I feel like, of manifestation, of connecting more into what your true purpose is and how you feel about what it is that you're doing and how you're showing up. So I think that this week being like, what we need to contemplate is this universe card, is that it's almost saying like, how are you connected to the higher self? How are you connecting to the divine? How are you connected to what you feel may be your purpose at this time? And with it being, again, reverse, I feel like it is very much kind of saying like, hey, take a step back, like look at, what does this mean overall? Where is this taking you? What is it that you are doing right now that is allowing you to kind of build the life that you want for yourself in the future? And if you're not on that track, which is fine. I mean, a lot of us, we're just trying to vibe and live, right? And maybe a reminder that maybe there's some sort of action that we need to kind of start enacting and putting into place so that we can find ourselves on the journey of what we really truly want in the future. All right, finally, with what we need to release. Oh, wait, no. This was the release card. Oopsie daisy. All right. I read them wrong, but that's okay. The message came out how I needed to be. So I'm going to switch these guys over. So this is to contemplate, and this is to release. The 10 of Pentacles, reversed, no less. Now, the 10 of Pentacles is a card that really talks about the, completion of the Pentacle suit before we get into the court cards. So it's very much about our hard work, our dedication, our efforts, everything kind of coming together. It really talks about the length of what we've been doing during that time period, during those many months. Like, what are we focusing on? What are we doing? How are we showing up in this energy? Now, this being reversed, I feel like maybe we feel like we haven't really finished everything that we thought we were going to. Maybe we feel like, I got to hurry up and do all of these other things. I need to kind of see where all of my seeds have been planted. What am I doing? And I feel like this is a reminder that there are still a lot of well-deserved rewards within the hard work that we've done, what we've been focusing on. And I think with this, I'm going to switch it around with what we need to release here. I think that it is a reminder that maybe we've been hanging on to certain dreams or ideals or, expectations or ways of being and living that really don't make sense for how life and society is at this current moment. So maybe there's something we need to kind of move on from. I'm not going to say let go, but maybe choosing to move on from, choosing to kind of say, hey, you know what, that no longer resonates with me as an individual. Maybe there's something that has shifted within you. I know as someone that, is now in their 4th decade of life, that there have been many dreams or ideals that I had at one point in time that just don't make sense for me anymore as an individual and with the life that I've kind of worked towards and built. And that's fine. Maybe later on in life, if my circumstances change or if, the universe kind of changes how things have been going, that'll be something that, shifts as well and that I can kind of experience in a different way. So I think the 10 of Pentacles here and the release card is that maybe we just need to kind of focus on what you've been hanging on to. Maybe, just because we've worked towards something for so long doesn't mean that we have to keep toiling at it and trying to head that way. I think a lot of us tend to forget we have free will, and at any point in time, we can change our lives. Sometimes there are going to be consequences. There's going to be fallout. There's going to be disappointment and, people that may not always understand. But I feel like with this being reversed is that I think it's more about physically, what are we hanging on to within ourselves that maybe no longer makes sense for the life that we're living and how we're living our lives. Maybe it's different expectations, different, behaviors, different ways of being. I know for like me personally, I can think of some things where I can be very as my husband calls me, Scrooge McDuck, about certain things. And and that's something that like I'm working on, and I'm trying to learn how to release so that I can allow myself to have a beautiful, abundant, comfortable life without feeling like I have to, hang on to every little bit, like it's never going to flow back. So I feel like this week there's a lot of internal work that these cards are kind of calling us into understanding, so that we can really move into the part where we can really truly manifest the things that we want, that we can really connect to our intuitive gifts and the things within ourselves without being so bogged down by the physical, being so bogged down by the things that maybe haven't really been coming together the way that we had anticipated. So since we had these two little jumper cards, we're going to talk about these guys, right? The very first card that came out was the Three of Cups reverse. Now, when I think of the Three of Cups, it can be very much a card of like sharing the love, of connecting with others, like celebrating, kind of enjoying simple things with people that you have a connection with, your community. This being reversed is that maybe it's saying you haven't really been doing a lot of it. Maybe you haven't really been getting out there and enjoying some of those connections, or, really giving yourself time to prepare to be around others in some way. So maybe there's a hesitation to kind of go out there. And I can say for myself, I've been on introvert level max lately. I've been very busy with work. And then when I, have some free time, all I want to do is be in my house. I just want to be in my house. I don't want to see nobody. I don't want to go anywhere. I just want to be at home. Which is also challenging because as the weather starts to cool off, this is kind of like my favorite time to be a little bit more social and to kind of get out of the house a little bit more. But I've been so tired. And so I feel like this is a reminder that it's okay to not feel a sense of obligation to kind of partake in things the way that you once did. Maybe you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself and kind of feeling like, oh, I should be doing this, and I should be like forcing myself to do this and forcing myself to do that. We have that healing card reversed. So we haven't really been paying attention to what we need in order for us to feel more connected with ourselves and a little bit more in balance. And maybe it's due to feeling these obligatory connections. And I'm not saying it in the sense of like people are like expecting you to be out and about and doing all of these things, but it may feel very much like you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself to be like, well, no, this is like the time where I need to be the most active and be the most out there. And so this may be a reminder is kind of saying like, hey, you got to kind of take a step back, look at yourself, and not be so focused on where is the external energy going and what external energy you're allowing yourself to kind of come back into you. And finally, we have the Six of Pentacles, which is a card of giving and receiving. So very apt with all these other messages. We have a lot of pentacles. We have this, kind of energy of like, hey, this week, we just need to find a better balance. We need to kind of move a little bit deeper into, taking care of ourselves. And maybe there's a sense of like, hey, maybe there's things at home that you need to kind of look through and kind of say, all right, I no longer need this. I need to kind of let this go. I need to kind of usher in new energy. I need to kind of be prepared to, give myself the grace necessary in order for me to kind of foster new relationships and connections. So I need to make space for that. But I also need to focus on the relationships and connections that feel like they are also in alignment with what I am receiving and what I am giving. So maybe it's a time to kind of reflect on our connections and, how are we showing up and how are others showing up for you at this time. And if something is not in balance, this may be a good week to kind of think about what that means for you and what you're willing to kind of move into moving forward, if that makes sense. Now, I do want to do one last thing. Since it is the full moon in Pisces today, let's look at a moon message from the Moonology Messages deck by Yasmin Boland. And let's see what she's got to say, girlies. All right, so we have, reach for the moon, go for it. I think that this is a beautiful reminder for all of us. I don't know about you guys, but I know for me, I tend to kind of ruminate on things a little too long, and I don't always enact. I don't always get out there and just do things. I am always like, oh, I gotta wait and this and that. And maybe it's because I'm a manifesting generator and I'm like, I have to be invited. I have to feel for, these moments. But now it's almost saying like, no, this is a very good invitation for many of us to kind of say like, all right, what is it that we're doing? What kind of life are we building? What is it that we really want? Now, as someone who's not super impulsive, I have done some very impulsive things in my life that have turned out to be really great character development, we'll put it that way. And some that have been fabulous moments in my life that have turned into beautiful places of growth for me. So I think that this is just kind of saying, hey, what have you been hanging on to? Maybe like you've been waiting a little bit this year and you're just like, oh, I'll just wait till this, or I'll wait till I'm that. And I keep seeing this message on social media where it's like, ready is not a feeling, because it's not. You're never going to feel ready. You're never going to feel prepared enough for something. Sometimes we're just given an opportunity, or we're given circumstances or a situation, and we just have to kind of say, all right, let's do it. Like, I'm just going to go in and I'm going to do it. So I think that this is just that same similar sort of reminder of like, girl, just go for it. Stop waiting for you to feel like you have it together enough, or that things make enough sense, because there is no sense of readiness. And even with all of these other cards where it's like, as long as you're doing the internal work within the moments and within these like different elements that may be playing into the relationship and the situation that you're currently in, the relationship with yourself, the relationship with others, like this is kind of saying, just go for it. Stop hanging back. So I want to say thank you so much for joining me this week. I know it's a little bit longer. I appreciate your time. I hope you enjoy this. I will see you next week. Please take care, stay safe, and as always, make good choices. Bye.